Hello, Rachel.
How are you?
I am doing very well, of course.
Aw, I love to hear that.
All the better because I'm here with you. We are sitting here today to record our podcast discussion, going over our thoughts, our feelings, our look back on the first season of Killjoys, which came out 10 years ago, and to celebrate, we went over the episodes, and we'll continue to go over the episodes of the remaining seasons, but we're going to take a little bit of a pit stop and have a look at that first season, the highs and lows.
Pause. Reflect.
I watched this back in the day, but not when
Not
it initially
quite 10
aired.
years ago.
I did not watch this when it initially aired, and this is your first time watching Killjoys. And I have never rewatched the show until this point, but I've been interested in seeing it again because I was recommended it by my sister as just a, hey, this is a cool show, you should check it out. And the third season was airing at that time, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll give this a watch. And I had it as a background show. I had it on while I was doing arts and crafts projects just for my own entertainment as well. And it was a good show for that. It was just like, okay, this is good. I warmed up to it eventually over the course of this first season. Around episode 5 is, I remember, when it really kind of hooked me a bit more. But I've never gone back to it, and I was curious of how it would hold up to a deeper look at it, because I did watch it as just something to have on. But it did impress me because it had a lot more ambition, and it was grabbing at that ambition than I expected it to. How about you, Rachel? This is obviously something that you were aware of that I was watching, but what's it like for you?
Good for you. I am not that interested. You didn't really try and get me to watch it. Like, at that point, we hadn't fully settled into the routine that we kind of have now of watching almost all TV shows together. Like, at that stage, we were watching more things independently than we were together. We would watch movies together more than TV at that point.
Our schedules in life were very different. Both you and I had yet to start our career paths in the way that they've gone. We did not have the podcast, which also takes a commitment to things. So there was the ability to just watch whatever. And back in the day, when this came out, science fiction TV was kind of on the upswing again. There was a period of time, I always look at it like, in my mind, and this may not be accurate, but I look at it like whenever Stargate Universe came out, that's kind of when science fiction TV was on the decline. And not even to say Stargate Universe was bad, but there was just a bunch of these shows that kind of were losing their way and just
part
losing
of the
interest.
Cycle. Like, we've even just being a podcast for 5 years, we've seen a good part of that up and down cycle and the secular nature of ideas as well.
And the tonal shift as well of what science fiction TV is supposed to be. In 2015, when this came out, there was like a resurgence of science fiction in TV, and more so films, but TV especially, where we could have goofy stuff like this, and then we could have something like The Expanse, and then eventually Star Trek came back to television, and that brought in even more waves of all of these science fiction shows from America, from
the
Germany, even
saturation.
Like, we got a lot more like foreign science fiction TV as well, and so there was just ones based on already existing things, ones like this where it was just an original show on its own merits, and but I was curious, what was your thoughts and expectations going into this, and how have they been shifted now?
It's hard to remember now. I remember how pleasantly surprised I was by the premiere It's hard to think about what I thought about the show before we started watching it, because I think I was just like, well, okay, this is the next thing that we're doing. Ryan watched it. I know that it has its seasons and it got to finish. But the thing that comes to mind when I'm like thinking back about my feelings about this season is how I would have quit after episode 3 if I'd been watching it on my own. Because the premiere was good, it was solid. Episode 2 was teetering, felt a little bit cumbersome. And then episode 3, I just did not like watching. I was infuriated by it because it was just so many dumb things compounding each other to make the plot what it was.
And yet we both liked that episode too.
But it infuriated me too.
The harvest we're talking about. Yeah, they were finding their groove.
Sugar Point Run fucking sucks. Like, it just fucking sucks.
Rachel, we got to hold off for when we talk about the worst episodes.
Yeah, we do. but like, coming off that and then into the harvest, that was just like, oh, it's almost doing something. It hasn't fully recovered from the shittiness of last episode, because like, I know in my heart that after watching Sugar Point Run, I would be like, okay, I'm going to give it one more shot, and the harvest would not have saved it.
But since you pushed through,
I am so happy that I did, because I am thoroughly enjoying this show, and I'm really enjoying going in blind.
I think there's something to what you're saying about what amount do you give a show? Like, how much do you give a show before you realize that it's not for you, or that it won't get better, or are you not giving it enough? Back in the day, we used to watch shows where they could have 40 episodes of mixed quality and still be like, well, Star Trek The Next Generation is still worth watching. Yeah, it takes 40 episodes to really hit its stride, but you would watch it because that was what was on TV. You would just watch what was on TV because there was so few choices. But now we have so many choices. When this came out, there was so many things you could do, and you can watch things in whatever way you want to watch them. I watched this on Netflix. That's how I watched it, and I just let one roll into the other. Sometimes I would even stop an episode if I was done doing my art thing, and I'll come back to it like a week later. Like, you watch it in your own way, whether it's on a second screen, or you watch it in quick succession, or you spread it out. Like, you have the freedom of choice. So it does make it hard for shows to win over people unless they're like the greatest of the great, which I think is such a frustration, because what I think about this season is it's a grower. It finds its voice, but it immediately comes in with a sense of identity, a sense of confidence. It does have ambition.
We kept on saying that as well about the characters and the performers.
Yeah, the characters and especially the performers. The performers come in pretty fully formed with their characters. The writing is still finding the voice of those individual characters, but it's pretty spot on for the most part. Yeah. But it's about the plots and how they figured out the marriage between plot, character, and world building and theme. And that became greater over time. But that's something that I'm thinking about when it comes to this season, what I liked about it. I liked it overall. I think it was very good. But it just made me think about how patience can be required and is often the prerequisite for science fiction television. We've talked about this so many times over and over, which is, with this genre in particular, it takes time to warm up.
Unless the target is my partner's ass.
Do me a favor, keep surveilling.
No, I remember you being a lot more fun.
I remember you being taller and smelling better.
I boiled that down to sort of 3 areas or criteria of like what makes a good first season of a sci-fi show. in particular. And I suppose you can apply it to other shows, other types of shows as well. But 1 is central characters. 2 is the world building. And 3, how the characters and the world interact with each other. And I think it does find its groove with those 3 things. When we did The Expanse, we would talk quite a bit about Holden's relationship with how central he was to the universe and to what was happening in the galaxy, and how that didn't, like, sometimes it was like, yeah, the push and pull made sense, and other times it didn't, or it felt forced. And I feel like these people, like our central trio of Johnny, Dutch, and Davin, being at the center of this world and finding themselves here, is done in an interesting way, because we know that they're at the heart of all of this. They're important to what's happening bigger than themselves. But the way that those characters feel about and relate to that isn't, oh my God, I am important, I'm feeling the pressure of things. It's an internal drive more than an external factor.
I used to think that great science fiction television were the ones where each week they would give you a great science fiction plot. Like, oh no, the Enterprise is exploding over and over again and they're stuck in a time loop. And then the next week it will be, oh no, Moriarty in the holodeck has come to life, and it brings all of these questions. Mm-hmm. That used to be the case. Very much so. Very much so. This week we have this science fiction problem, and you would get that sense of like these writers or individual writer have a great idea, and they're going to use the genre to explore that idea. Like, yeah, you have the science fiction plot, but that really is tapping into more heady things. Like, how does this make you feel about the human condition, and on it goes. And there was always still character stuff, but I would not say Star Trek Voyager, which is one of my favorite Star Treks. I know it's a controversial thing. I would not say that is character-focused and driven.
No. In fact, the character stuff is often trash.
But it's not character-focused and driven like Killjoys is.
No.
Or even like Star Trek Discovery was attempting to be after a certain point.
Are very different.
And that's what, when it comes to a first season, it's like they're very different beasts. We have so many shows that do different things, but I think the shift has been, we have to set up the ideas and the world. Those are the most important. Those are the be-all and end-all. And we really struggled with that for first seasons. Like, we love Babylon 5. But those first few episodes are very much like, here's the world, here's the world, here's the world. You have to get used to the world. It's complex. But that's the selling point. That was the selling point. Like, there was no other shows like that. Like, oh, the UN in space. That's a great idea. Killjoys doesn't have that unique flair. It's space bounty hunters. You've seen Firefly. You've seen Cowboy Bebop. Yeah. You've seen these. So what does it bring?
It's not a new thing. But the world in which they are operating is splicing up different things that you've seen before and serving them to you in a new way. Like an evil corporation in Sci-Fi, not fucking new.
Not new at all. It's the fact that it's simply called The Company gives a wink to the audience that they know that too. They're not going to come up with some fancified name for it. It is simply The Company. Yeah. You know what it is. We're not going to beat around the bush. They look like fascists, okay? You get it.
Yeah. The Nine.
The Nine. Yeah. The nine rulers of the Quad. And
straightforward in that way.
But what works about this is it is so honest and true to the characters. It knows who they are. And even if it doesn't fully get there, you can tell that it's attempting, it's trying, it's very committed to that.
Yeah,
And
it knows who it's about.
And as I get older and as I look at my shows, it's the character stuff that is lingering with me more. And I think that's just how the shift in attitude to TV storytelling has been.
Yeah.
At the same time as this show, The Expanse was happening. And we had a great problem with the first season because it put its character work further behind, just way in the back of everything else.
Almost incidental.
It was very much interested in the technicals. Oh, isn't it impressive that we got the gravity right? Or isn't it impressive that we know the political structure of this world and it's all that? But who are these people? Took us a very long time. Killjoys? I think, for my preference, this has probably been the greatest first season of a show we've covered outside of Space Above and Beyond.
I was going to say that there's a butt coming and it better be about space.
Yeah, Space Above and Beyond understood this over time as well. It's double the length, but it understood, like, okay, look, the world building, the sci-fi-ness, yeah, that's important, but why don't we just get invested in these characters? It's the people you spend the time with.
Yeah, and you won't care as much about the big things if you don't care about the players.
Because when I go back to, say, favorite episodes or favorite moments, I'm not going to define those as, oh, the one where this specific plot happened or the specific gimmick. It's more about how those manage to weave in character work and help elevate what we were doing with that. Like, my favorite moments in this were ones that were informing us about who the crew were or letting us get a bit of insight to side characters, because we really are against this notion that, oh, because television nowadays has limited amount of episodes in comparison to what we grew up with. Like, oh, Killjoys only has 10 episodes. So they can't give us good character work for side people. No, incorrect, wrong. They did a great job with that, because my favorite moments were just getting to see Pri, or getting to see Fancy Lee, or getting to see Baelish. Those were like my favorite things, were just like, oh, we got a little bit of insight to the world by getting to know the people who live in it.
And that is a reason why this season of Killjoys stands out so much.
I forgot that everything on Westerly has an ugly aftertaste. You know what I remember? When the Rack was just happy being our errand boys.
Yeah. Well, times change. Hills. Whether we like it or not.
If we're switching to talking about favorite moments, we do have to, I think, take a moment. At least I want to take a moment to praise some of the great lines that came through in this season, because they feel so true to the characters and to the world, which, like, it is such difficult thing to manage so early on in a show.
And the show does want to play around with multiple things. Like, it is a very action-driven series. There's lots of kicking and running and gunning and showing off, and this is also a horny show. It wants to have that titillation factor of, like, we're sexualizing everyone in this show. Everyone's hot. But it feels true to what this is about. Like, the show lays its cards on the table and says, we're here to fight, fuck, and have fun at first, but we're going to scratch underneath all of that, and you're going to see that we're actually deeper than you may give credit for. And yeah, you have so many lines. I just want to say, speech-wise, the most standout speech of the show to me is the Fancy Lee designated asshole speech.
Oh, yeah. That is a moment that I think we will continue to refer back to when we're covering other shows as well, of the rule of the designated asshole. Because it is so true. And it's just, like, it feels more applicable in broader situations than the Kelso effect. One of the lines that I did have written down was about Fancy, and it's from Johnny, because it's a quippy line that feels exactly right for the tone of Killjoys. It feels very authentic to the character, and that's when he says, "Get off my ship, Fancy. You're filling it with douchebag."
Yeah, there's so
'Cause
many.
the show is fun as well.
We have a measurement of the humor. We made sure to flag up moments that made us smile, made us laugh, made us guffaw. One of my favorite scenes was, and I think this is probably my favorite thing of the season overall, is the Johnny Dutch platonic relationship. I like their relationship. I like that they are friends, that they will ride or die for each other, that they are just so close. But the conversation that Johnny has with Pre about Davin and Dutch being in a sexual relationship now, and how he will have to, Johnny will have to choose a side. And it gives us some wonderful, wonderful material from Johnny, but I also love Pre in that moment too, saying like, you'll choose her, and it'll make you an excellent friend if you do. And just the tenderness of that conversation, because at first Pre is a little bit immature, just finally it's happened, like you've just been waiting and now you've missed your shot and that's why you're upset. But then it turns around into something more meaningful and more honest, because that relationship is better than if it was he's secretly in love with her and it's a love triangle. Instead, it is about how he respects her so much, but he also understands like this dynamic cannot work.
Yeah. I just want to do a couple of sort of more quick fire moments that I really liked. You in particular were very much praising the performance of Klein.
Oh, yeah.
And the moment that I really wanted to highlight for that actor and character is when he loses his shit when Dutch says that the company has the bomb again.
He chokes her.
Yes, but like that moment is so terrifying because he is so composed. And he hurts her.
And then she hurts him and he's unfazed, both physically and emotionally.
Yep.
He has no reaction, really, to the fact that she would do that to him, let alone the physical repercussions of it.
It's an amazing moment, and it has so much impact in that moment and continuing importance. Next one that I want to bring up is when Johnny confronts Davin after, everything's gone down with him and Dutch and the super soldier activation. And he's like, I'm done fixing things for everyone. It means so much. And it made me so excited to see what they're going to do with Johnny next. Because throughout the season, we were talking about how Johnny is often in a reactionary role. He's there because he's responding to things that are happening with Dutch, Davin, or the world, the warrant, whatever it is. But after that, you're like, okay, well, what is he going to choose to do now that he's not focused? He's choosing or trying to choose not to just be fixing other people's shit or fixing like the ship or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
what's he going to do now? What are his choices going to be?
Is he going to be more than just the comedic relief tech guy of the show? Is he going to be more than just the empathetic one of the crew? Does he have limits? And they answer those greatly. Any other standout moments for the season?
Last one, because it reflects an overall praise that I have been giving a lot to this season in particular, and I hope it stays true for the rest of them, which is when they do the thing that you expect but not in the way that you expected it. Or it chooses the better option and something that you weren't expecting. And the example that leapt to mind for that was when Dutch gets caught and gets injected with the nanobots.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, oh, fuck, she's just walked in. They've gone, oh, fuck, really? She's being that dumb?
It was in an episode where the characters were dumb at points because of plot reasons.
Yes. But no, she needed them so that she could fly through space and get to Lucy.
And there was some humor had with the nanobots. That was probably one of my favorite dumb Jacoby Brothers stuff, was just like, I keep shooting you so it repairs you so it doesn't torture you more. Like, that was great. A final thing that I want to say in terms of moments, I liked when Dutch did stand up to Klein in the penultimate episode. She realizes that she is his weakness, and she injects herself with the poison, not poison. And I liked that whole back and forth of just like, I want you to know what it's like not to be in control. And it really hits, I think, the both performers deliver on that scene, but it's a nice crescendo to her journey as a character in which she's been running away and she doesn't want to look back, and yet she has all these remnants of her past, whether it is her expertise in social climbing or fighting, or literally this piece of royal attire that's hanging on her wall. Like, these are the things they're still chasing after her. They're still with her. So when she finds out that she's never had a choice, that she's still been following what Klein has wanted, and then she stands up and says no, really cathartic.
Was it wrong of me to protect you all these years?
You changed me.
Exactly. They were making you a victim. I made you a weapon. Now you tell me I was wrong, Yala.
I'm asking the questions.
The season, although we found it to be one that grew over time, that does mean that there were elements of the show that did not work. Things that perhaps were not our favorite beats or decisions. And I want to know
the fucking ovaries line.
No, wrong.
Incorrect,
wrong.
I get it.
I
get why you love it, but I do.
Rattled an ovary or two. If she wasn't British, it wouldn't be as good. I'm telling you that right now.
Agreed.
I'm a defender of that line, but if she wasn't British,
no.
That line wouldn't be as funny as it is.
No, it just rubs me the wrong way. The other note that I had down to make sure that I talked about was
yes,
Porter.
Yes, our doctor, a lovely doctor, morally upright citizen,
saying that it's an occupational hazard and good sex.
Oh, you didn't like that?
Oh.
But that scene, though, was still good.
That scene was good. Like, I get why you don't dislike those two moments as much as I do, but they stood out as being like, nope, don't like it. Don't want. I get it.
One of them's a joke, which is more subjective. The other is in a whole scene dedicated to this show itself, pointing to how wrong it is that she's like her.
I'm not meant to like that moment. I'm not meant to like her treating Davin like that and doing that morally reprehensible thing. So, like, those two aren't, like, a failure of the show.
No.
Kind of least favorite moments. But the fact that those are the two that really jump to my mind of, like, I've got to say that I didn't like those two things says a lot about the quality of the show overall.
Yeah. My least favorite aspect of the show is that characters will be dumb for plot reasons.
Yeah.
It happened earlier on than it did later.
First half.
A lot in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
We had moments
There's
where we're
whole
supposed to be,
episodes
and even
where it works around that being what's needed, right?
And I took great umbrage, and this did carry on even in the last episode. Johnny will instigate plots because he does a dumb thing. Oh, I'm going to jam this into the back of my neck while I'm alone. Like, and I'm not saying
I'm
that
going to take a scoop of the goo.
And I'm not, well, that wasn't as dumb. That was clever.
No.
And he's going to touch it. But that's not to say that it's out of character.
No.
But it can be
I just wanted to mention the
infuriating that plots are generated by idiocy. And that was annoying. They did, as we said, polish that over time. They kind of
tracks in Sugar Point Run.
That may be the dumbest thing they ever did in the show.
Like
They didn't even need to do it.
No.
Why did they even have a? They never used that car again in the show. They had it in the bay, but they never drove it, did they? Again,
no.
That was the episode where they drove
it.
it.
The nice moment of them
Of
Dutch
Johnny and Dutch,
Johnny
yeah, sitting in it. But that's what I'm saying. Like they had that, so you could say they did use it again. But like to give context, in Sugar Point Run, they drive their car in the desert, in the rocky quarry, into a secret hideout, and the bad guys know where it is because they just follow the car tracks, and it's like, and they're surprised. Our Killjoys are surprised by this, and we're supposed to believe that they're some of the best in the business. It was just so annoying. That episode infuriated me. And another least favorite, like just a specific moment that stood out to me in this season that I absolutely did not like, and I hated it very much. Any guesses, Rachel?
Oh, nah, I just want to hear it.
You don't know.
I just want to hear it.
I did not appreciate, and I'm not a prude, but I did not appreciate that Dutch and Davin trauma bond and then immediately fuck. I hated it. But it's deliberate. Like that there is not a fault. It was just a thing that made me feel disgusted while I watched it. But it was shot like it was sexy. That's the disconnect there. I think that was the only time I had a disconnect between how the show is knowing when it's pervy and when it isn't. That they're skirted. I think I praised it at the time, but then I looked back at it again and I was like, I don't know. It's pretty much like, look at this. Ooh, look at that. But then you, like, when it got violent later, that no longer sexual. But it was that thing of, like, they have trauma bonding, and it's, like, really, like, oh, now we fuck. And I'm like, I don't think that's healthy. And then the show agreed with me it wasn't healthy either. But it was just a moment that made me go, no, I don't want to deal with that anymore. I know your least favorite moment.
What is it?
You almost quit the reaction because of it. Because we record our reactions and put them up first. You did not like when Davin did an opening monologue saying, like, hey, you ever had one of those days? As he's getting hit in the face.
I did fucking hate that so much. That got, like, that brought, like, it dug up deep vitriol. I feel like we're going to be, if not the same on what our best episode is, we will agree with each other's choice.
There's only 10.
Yeah.
So it limits things. But I had a difficult time. I had to choose what was the best episode and what was my favorite episode, which are not the same thing.
True. I didn't pull it apart that way.
I always wrestle with that because what matters more to you? I think objectively, the best episode was Kiss Kiss Bye Bye.
That is what I put as the best as well. Like, that episode is solid all the way through. It's reinforcing things. It's paying things off. It's setting things up. The balance is perfect. The tone is perfect for Killjoys. It is just so fun as well.
My favorite episode was One Blood. It is the episode in which they have to hunt down Dutch's former mentor and Big Joe. And we get Fancy Lee's return. That episode was just...
The asshole speech is in that episode.
Yes, but it checked a lot of boxes for me. And I do think it was one of the most important episodes because it is the one where they slow down on the overarching narrative stuff while still giving us it. Like, Klein returns in that episode, and he's a big deal in it. But we slow down, and we look at the other players of this story. Who are the other Killjoys? What are they like? What about that?
A little bit more clarity as to level 6 and Red 17 as well.
Yeah, we get introduced level 6 in that. But, even then, that's like focusing on those bigger picture things. But we get...
Oh, yeah, but like you were saying that there's still those things there. Like, they're embedded within the episode, rather than it being what the episode's about. And you need that little bit of reprieve at that point in the season.
It also separates the team. Dutch has gone on her own, and she's working against them in some way. And we get to see the brothers forced to work together.
Which is not the way that they've been split up in previous episodes. It's always been Johnny left on his own.
Usually. Yeah. And we get to see Turin come back. We get to have these new characters as well with Big Joe and those separatists, like all interesting stuff. But the 5th episode, A Glitch in the System, I remember being like important because it was a tonal shift.
Yeah, I thought that might be up there for you.
And I thought it was really well done, but it did suffer some problems that could have been ironed out in another draft. I like that one took a more serious route, and it was probably the most humorless episode, and I think it worked because of that. But I think upon this rewatch, for me, One Blood is one of the most important episodes because it demonstrates that we don't always have to be so laser focused on the plot and these 3 central characters. We can still have all of those things, but hey, why don't we get to see what Hills is doing? Mm-hmm. Why don't we get to see Pre and Potter talk to one another? Mm-hmm. Why don't we get to see Fancy Lee and Johnny work together? Like, it asks these questions, and I never thought about it before, but then when it came up, I'm like, yeah, I love seeing Hills and Potter talk to one another. Yeah, great.
We skipped over something in least favorites.
What?
Which I find kind of funny because we didn't like it because the show skipped over it, which was Porter being released from prison.
That actually may be the worst thing
like,
that they did.
How did we skip that?
And they keep saying Westhull is like the worst of the worst. You can't just walk in, walk out. She did. And I know she has connections, but the whole point was her connections didn't mean jack shit. And they never, ever, ever, ever loop back around on that.
No,
they
don't at all.
There are little things that I wonder if we'll loop back around on, like Klein, or if we already know and we just haven't thought about, like Klein wanted Dutch to kill this guy in like the first episode or 2, and then she spared him and then he killed him. Who was that guy?
Yeah.
Did we ever find out who that guy was?
I can't remember.
Or was that to test if she's actually true to the because Klein returned because she accepted a level 5 warrant, and that gave him the idea that, oh, she's ready to
and
be
it's like she's
a real
ready
player
to be
now.
a part of the work.
But was that guy just for him to test her?
What's going on with you, Jacoby?
You first. Strange red box. Mystery Burns asking Dav to join our team without asking me first?
He's your brother. I thought you'd be happy.
Of course I'm happy.
So then what's the problem?
It's complicated.
We've talked a good amount about the episodes that we did like, and we aren't going to do a full ranking the way that we do with some other like season recaps, but I did organize a ranking, so I thought that I would share my full list with
Go
you
ahead.
and the Yumlings.
I've never seen this before. I don't really do rankings of episodes in a season myself. I think it's fun to do it with seasons when you're done. But individual episodes in a season, I'm like, I know what ones I liked and what ones I didn't.
I was like, I want to keep track a little bit better this time of what ones I liked and where things compared to each other.
And how much they shift when you get to the end.
Mm-hmm. So Kiss Kiss Bye Bye, episode 7, was my number 1. Escape Velocity was number 10. Enemy Klein at episode 9 was number 3.
So wait, Escape Velocity was the 10th episode and it's at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because it surprised me with how good it was, and a little bit of recency bias, I imagine. One Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Bangarang.
Oh, the premiere. Yeah.
A Glitch in the System.
Mm-hmm.
Come the Rain.
Yeah.
The Harvest. The Vessel. And then the worst episode of this season. I don't think there's going to be much discussion about its position. The Sugar Point Run.
I like that you added a "the" to Vessel when it was just Vessel. We got new listeners to our podcast because we're covering Killjoys. And I don't know what the Killjoys community is like too much because, again, when I watched this, I watched it on my own. I wasn't really engaging with the Reddits and the social medias. But since we have a podcast, we get feedback on things. And we got feedback from a few people about being too harsh on the Sugar Point Run. And it made me think back on it, and I've been looking over it. And did I like it more than Vessel? Because you and I were divided on Vessel. You liked it. I did not like it. I did not like Vessel.
I forgave its faults.
I don't know. Okay. I think the quality of the Sugar Point Run is at the bottom. I just don't think it's a well-made episode, visually speaking, as well as script-wise, it's boilerplate. It's serviceable, but it's boilerplate, and it could be better. And even within 3 or 4 episodes, we see that they got better at things. So that's something to know. But Vessel pissed me off. That's the thing. Vessel pissed me off because it had great elements in it. But then it did the cheapest, most hackneyed writing things that it could do.
Yeah.
Johnny's girlfriend in that episode.
Yeah.
And then she just dies like a chump because, well, that's what's required in the script. I still get vitriol at that. When I look back at the Sugar Point Run, I just go, oh, yeah, that was dumb. That wasn't just... I just go, oh, that wasn't good. But when I look at Vessel, I get annoyed. Like, we get introduced to Dulcea in that episode. Like, she's an important character. Like, she's in the finale. She does a big move, and then you have to remember, oh, yeah, she was in Vessel. That's where we introduced her.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I understand why it's the worst for you. But for Sugar Point Run, because it did so much damage to me wanting to watch the show, that was a big factor in it dropping to the bottom. Because I was just so annoyed at the show watching it. Whereas Vessel, I was just like, I was more forgiving of its faults and just okay with its mediocrity. It didn't make me angry.
I will defend Vessel in this way that I cannot defend the Sugar Point run. I would love to read the script for that episode because I do think it was hampered in the production and or especially post-production.
Corners were cut. It felt
went,
like that.
Something went wrong there. And that does make it memorable. That does make it stand out. The Sugar Point run, there's nothing really that I look back on it and say, oh yeah, that was great. Oh yeah, that was a standout. It was functional. It served the purpose of getting Davin to be a part of the team and to prove himself. But even then, I wouldn't say it's that noteworthy of an episode.
At this point, it is more the overall impact of it than the specific things, like, because it left such a sour taste in my mouth.
We keep talking about how much the characters are important and how much they mean to us. And we do have quite the ensemble, but the show wisely knows that the three central ones are the ones that matter the most. If we don't know who they are, and if we don't care about them, and if we're not invested in them, then that greatly hurts the show. But that is no excuse not to give other people time to shine. And I would love to know, who is your favorite character in the show? Is it one of the main three or is it someone else? Who is the best character or your favorite character of Killjoy so far?
This one, I really struggled because it feels so unfair to try and pick a favorite of the trio because it's Dutch. Like, it feels just so easy to say that it's Dutch. She really is our main character. She's propelling the plot forward. She's really interesting. She's dynamic, right? But it is like for me, it's just that straightforward. If it's up for grabs and our main trio's there, it's Dutch.
What about her as a person do you like? Because you're talking about, like, yeah, she serves the role of protagonist really well, which even then you don't have that as a major tick in your box of like, oh yeah, James Holden and Nathan West and John Sheridan really do great jobs as protagonists, but they aren't your favorite.
She's good at her job, and I like her level of arrogance and style of banter and her relationship with Johnny, and I love the way that I hate her relationship with Davin.
Dutch is a standout. I did not really care for Dutch too much when I initially watched the show. I thought she was good, but there was always other people that leapt out.
You like Porter.
I like the Doctor. I like Johnny. I think Johnny's...
I really like Johnny too.
I think Johnny's probably my favorite. I liked his arc over the season. I liked his growth and development.
Agreed.
I like that they made sure that he wasn't just the silly guy of the show, but that doesn't go away just because he becomes more dramatic. That's still there, but it doesn't. They know they struck the right amount of him being silly and him being dramatic, which I admire so much because he doesn't undercut moments just for the sake of a quick gag as much as you would expect from a character like him.
No, it's not that straightforward. Like, you had a favorite and a best episode. I have a favorite and a best character.
I do too. In a way, like, I think the best character for me was Johnny. I did have a hard time not choosing Dutch as well because, you know, she's just a great...
Got so much going on.
And we took a little bit to get to know her because by design her character is guarded. Mysterious and guarded, but they made her intriguing. But I'm curious to know. So what's your other character that you have waiting in the wings? And if it isn't who I think it is, I'm going to be real mad.
Who do you think it is?
No, say it first because I know I'm right. But go on.
It's Pre.
Yeah, it's Pre. Yeah, it's Pre.
It's easy. We had so much fun with him in this season. Just that little bit of flair. Not feeling like your typical sci-fi bartender. He made a lot of scenes a lot more fun.
He's also just a very sweet character.
Yeah, and he really does help a lot of our characters. And, he's part of the reason that I have my yum laugh of the season.
I loved Pre so much. I loved him the first time I watched it. I loved him even more this time.
Whatever this is, it can't last. And they know that it can't last. And then I have to pick a side.
You'll pick hers.
I will. Does that make me a bad brother?
Makes you an excellent friend.
There's many other people that are great in the series. Fancy Lee, of course, mentioned. Gotta love him. Dulcea. Turin, yeah, he didn't get as much, but he was still good. He got more than you would expect because he changed each time we saw him. Like, his attitude got more and more pissy each time we saw him, which is good. But I want to know, there are people in the show that perhaps weren't the greatest. People that maybe we didn't like or we had a tough time with. I'm just going to say it. Davin is not in my list. We had issues with Davin, but they found the voice of the character and they leaned into the performer's abilities. And I loved seeing them get into the rhythm of the Jacoby brothers. When they got really in their zone of whether they were together or not, great amount of humor was had from how these two brothers would approach an individual situation in a very Jacoby's brothers dumbass way. Like him saying, "This is bad, Devin."
Yeah, if
that
we did
great.
A mid-season check-in, absolutely Davin would have been my least favorite. I couldn't come up with a least favorite that was a genuine, proper character.
Just one-offs probably, right?
Yeah. But
how impressive is that?
Turin, great. Hills gets a solid journey.
Wonderful performance from him too. He has that sense of I've been here for so long,
so jaded. Porter also has a journey, even though she skews me out. She's also she's good, but she's flawed. She's complicated in a very authentic feeling way, and not just that's just she's just a doctor with a drug habit House. It feels contextual to the world as well.
It was set up too. You even said before the reveal, she's an addict because of how she behaves, and you didn't explicitly mean drug addict. You just meant she has that addict personality. Yep. She's that much of a thrill seeker that you thought at the time. I think that it's hard to pick. Yeah, she was fun.
Again, it's another character that could be flat, but it's not. So it doesn't feel right to say that she's my least favorite or the worst character in the show.
And to give even more praise to how sensitively and how well handled these characters are. This cast of people are primarily made up of self-interested, selfish, apathetic, world-weary, people. But there's still hope to these people. There's still something that you gravitate towards. This is not your happy-go-lucky show. Like, yeah, there's lots of humor had, there's lots of heart had, but these are people who have gone through a lot of trauma, and these are people who have done a lot of bad things as well, but you still like them. You still want to spend time with them. You still you talk about Potter. She's a despicable character in terms of what she's done, and yet she's fascinating. Yet there's an honesty and a truth to her, because the show is aware that these things that she is doing and has done is bad. My character, I did have one. It's Alphys. Purely for the fact that he was the same note played many times over, which was he would put his hands on his hips and be like, oh, one day you'll have to choose a side. And there was only Come the Rain where it really felt like they fleshed him out. And then after that, he went back to being the guy who would just be like, well, one day things are going to go bad. You're going to have to choose a side.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. He didn't even come to mind for that, because it's just like, oh, he had something at least.
Yeah, he's not a worthless character. I just want them to deepen him. He was the person in the show that was a recurring figure that I felt I understood the same amount as I did in the first episode they were in. While everyone else...
Yeah, we were so interested to learn more about him, and the more we saw him, the less interested we were.
Because it was pretty self-explanatory. And I hope that next season they'll give more details, more depth, more understanding of who he is, and just let him play a bit more, because the actor is good.
Yes.
These actors are very good. They range in terms of the level of campiness. Like the actress who plays Dulcea, she's like a Power Rangers performance, but I love it. She does it so well. But yeah, I did have to pick someone, and after our recent discussions, he was someone that kept popping up, because you have the potential to do more with this person, and an episode demonstrated that, and then the others didn't.
It was a disappointment to have that happen with Alphys, because the show succeeds in so many other areas, and it manages to pull off a number of really big surprises and turns in terms of the show. Like me going through it for the first time, it had a number of surprises for me in terms of that, but also my experience with it. Like, I've already mentioned one of the big ones, which is that the show managed to turn around for me after that huge drop off point in the first couple of episodes. Like, I really didn't get along with Glitch in the System, because the show was at such a deficit coming out of episodes like 2, 3, 4. And I didn't know if it was going to manage to dig itself out of that hole, and it did. And I am so glad that, like, the podcast and you forced me to persevere with the show, because it is already been so rewarding just in this one season.
I have said some things about Killjoys in the past that I don't feel is true anymore. I've always thought it was an ugly looking show. I did not appreciate the color palette. I did not appreciate
the stylistic choices,
the white balance,
the moons and stuff,
the shakiness, the close-ups,
the music.
The music less so, but like
I had more problems with the music at various points, but it didn't. Like, I look forward to the needle drops now.
But I look at those things now completely differently. This is a show working with limitations, but it embraces that, and it doesn't use those as excuses to not tell stories. And
we're in a warehouse, but we're gonna do interesting things.
Yeah, exactly right. I am so sick and tired of watching movies and shows and they don't do things because, oh, we have these limitations, so we don't do the thing that you want. Killjoys has all of these hurdles in front of it, and it utilizes those. It makes me think of things like Babylon 5, where we have these things in front of us, but we're not going to let it slow us down. So the more deliberate ways that they use those visuals that I thought made it ugly in the past stood out to me. And it communicated place, it communicated mood, and sometimes it made action scenes, which, you know, are not the driving factor for me for shows. We've complained about that with Star Trek a lot, where Star Trek is like every episode must have like 15 minutes worth of fight scenes, and not what I'm interested in. But the way that those visuals that I once criticized and once put the show down for did make certain action scenes pop off a lot more than they didn't. And that to me was the biggest surprise on the rewatch, was just being like, oh, the thing that I've always had a little asterisk next to recommending Killjoys has started to be wiped away, because I would not recommend this show to many people in the past because, well, look at it. But then I think back to, like, well, I liked other shows that also shot in warehouses as their spaceships, right? Or like in a quarry. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I've been scarred by the fact that modern Doctor Who has, like, new Doctor Who, they had an episode set in a quarry, but they no longer filmed in real quarries. They had a fake quarry with, like, the digital wall around it. And I'm like, fuck me. We can't even film in real quarries anymore. But
really?
But here's the thing. With all this tech, Sci-Fi TV still says quarries are needed, caves are needed.
Something else that surprised us was the number of bitches. Like
the use of word bitch. I mean, there's plenty of sex. There's plenty of sexy ladies in this show, but I wouldn't call them all bitches like Rachel.
Oh, Johnny, not having sex with that sexer.
So to bring this into focus a bit more, one of the things we noticed during our reactions was every episode was using the word bitch or bitches in some way. And I was saying to myself, and then I said out loud, oh, we've got to keep a count on that. So at some point we've kept a count on that, and like, were they good uses of bitch? Were they funny? Were they dramatic? What's the deal with the bitch?
I have a top 3.
You have top 3. Wowzers. So I did a tally. I did a bitch count. I went through all of the episodes we've done, and I got each bitch and who said the bitches, and I've counted up how many were used.
You've got some statistics.
I got statistics, but we also have to say...
You did a fancy Lee approach.
He did not say bitch in the season.
No,
surprisingly.
but he gave the stats to Johnny.
He gave stats, but he himself never got to say bitch. Perhaps one day. But how about we talk about
where we end up with
use...
him in the season? I don't know.
Yeah. He's all gooed up. Perhaps he glubs out a bitch. But we're going to talk about our favorite uses of bitch. I only chose one because there's too many. But I have an assumption of what your number 1 will be, and if I'm wrong, then I'm saying you're wrong actually. But I chose one because it was very funny to me. But upon looking back, it actually gave us some information too, which is I chose from episode 8, Come the Rain. The exchange of the man in the bar saying, but it's black raining out there, bitches. And then Pre says, that's why the gods invented basement, bitches. It's a line delivery. But what I liked about that was I didn't take note of the fact that he said gods.
Oh, yeah.
I was too distracted by the bitches. I was like, bitch. He said it. Now, Pre said it. Pre said it a couple of times this season. But what are your 3?
Okay. So my 3, I picked them for different reasons. So the first one I picked because I still laugh at it and think, oh my God, that's so ridiculous, but I love it for the show. And it's been mentioned a little bit already, which is, well, I knew someone would go full bitch just didn't think it would be mother inferior.
I thought that would be your number one. That was, I mean, I think that made us go, we need to keep a count on the bitches in this show. There's just so many bitches being dropped.
I lied. That was my number one.
Okay, so what else have you got?
So my number two was Pre saying, "Bitch, how charming do you think you are?"
To Dutch, as she laments that Johnny doesn't want to spend time with her now. Oh, that was a good one.
And my number three was Turin being like a big dumb guy, a smaller dumb guy, and a bitch.
That was, oh man, that was some good shit. So, surprise, surprise. Who do you think said bitch the most during the season?
Dutch.
Wrong, it's Johnny. Johnny. He says it like almost every episode. First episode, he gets one. Second, but Dutch is a close second because midway through the show, she just gets a string of them. She's like, bitch, 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 bitch. In Glitch in the System, she's the only one, and she says it 3 times. In Glitch in the System, she's the one that gets it 3 times. But then Johnny says, no, I'm back. You just got level 6, you bitch. Like, he keeps doing it, but Dutch is a close second.
Okay.
But
I don't feel too bad about losing that
The
one.
total count of bitch in season 1 is... Oh, you haven't looked? I did put it on there.
No, I didn't look.
Okay, how many... So I want to clarify. I put the use of bitch and bitches. There was usage of bitching, but I don't think that counts in the same way that we are looking at this, because bitching is that's a different connotation to just saying bitch.
I'm gonna guess 23.
Close. 21 uses of bitch. And my final question for this, I have a question for you. Who in the next season would you like to hear say bitch that did not get to say it in this season?
Who didn't?
Who didn't?
Klein.
Klein never got to say bitch.
Didn't
True.
he?
No, he never got to say it. Good answer. I would personally like Fancy, obviously.
Oh, yes.
But, if I have to give it to someone else, I'm shocked that Baelish never said it.
True.
She just feels like someone who would, but again, she's more, she's more of a feminist character. I don't think she's going to call, who would she call a bitch? She would not be calling Dutch a bitch. But
no.
Turin, Turin's an
if
angry little bitch himself, and he's like, big dumb guy, smaller dumb guy, and a bitch. It's like,
if when that's my bitch, that would feel right.
That would feel right.
Yeah.
And she cocks a shotgun.
Yeah.
Who would be the most uncharacteristic person to say bitch? I know. This show is full of people who are always on the verge of saying it, but I know it's...
Yeah, I
lied. That wasn't my last question. I had another one, which was that. I think it's Elvis. I don't know. I can hear him saying it, but I just don't... The fact that Lucy never said it either is actually fucking shocking. She got to say, ass kicking imminent. All of that. Shout out to Lucy. Great character. Loved her. She was always wonderful. But
yeah, that was a really good laugh. There were a lot of good contenders for Yum Yum laugh. But I don't think mine is going to be a surprise, so I kind of just want to get it out of the way.
Yes.
Which is a moment in general, but specifically the hand gesture that accompanies it. Which is when Johnny's like, it's like my sister and my brother, and then claps his hands together when he's talking about how Dutch and
Davin
are
fucking
together.
Yeah. And Pre goes, whoa, okay, I got the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the funniest moment of the show. That's the biggest laugh. I had one. Are you into catwalks? Meow. Dutch says.
Idea, meow.
Dutch says, meow.
Meow.
Meow, which is Not only perhaps one of the funniest. I mean, I like the ovaries line. That is a funny line to me of just like, was that the scavs that shot your ship down? You rattled an ovary or two, but nothing I couldn't shimmy back into place. That's a funny line to me. But the meow is insane. Whoever the director was for that one, when they got into the editing and they're like, oh, we could ADR here? Her saying meow. Whoever put that there. Look, if Hannah herself did it, and she said, I have an idea. If she said, listen here, boys, I have an idea. That's my shit show impression of Anna John-Kamen. She just says, listen, I have one. Meow. Absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. But, Rachel, as we wind down here, we all are waiting with bated breath to know your predictions for season 2 in general.
I think we're going to move our perspective a little bit further out to the J cluster, and not just always stay in the quad. I think the quad's going to be like the center of everything. But I think they are going to be on the run a little bit, and so we're going to move a little bit further away.
They attacked Old Town
from Westerly. So they're going to need a new base of operations, a new home. Because I don't think it's going to be Pre on the ship chilling out, like
shaking martinis.
Yeah,
I would love that though.
I would love it if he just became a part of the crew.
What do you think? What do you think about Davin? He's the hook at the end. He's been taken and he's at Red 17.
Oh yeah, I think they're gonna be looking for him, and figuring out if they can stay in the rack, knowing what they know now. I think that's going to be a obstacle.
Yes, and do you think Davin is going to be found and saved before anything happens to him? Or do you think that...
No, I think something's going to happen to him.
Get level 6?
I don't know if he'll get all the way through the process, or if they are going to build on the modifications that he already has first, and that Klein is going to have some ability to control him. Because I think that was another aspect of that finale that was really good, was getting that clarity that Klein killed Dutch's husband.
Yeah. Not
Dutch, and that didn't work to try and control her, so he's not going to make that same mistake again. So the idea of Klein sort of repurposing the equipment that Dr. Yeager put there, and him having the ability to do that would make sense too.
Yeah, do you have any further predictions or just overview thoughts on Klein and his grand scheme?
I don't know. I feel like he's not going... I don't think he's going to be the big bad for the whole show. I think that there's going to be somebody bigger than him.
Well, he keeps justifying everything he does as, I'm protecting us.
Yeah.
So... what is that?
Yeah, so if it's not that, then it would be weird.
What about Dulcea? Any thoughts on her? She came in at the end and basically wiped out most of the 9 and created vacuums of power and destroyed Old Town.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen with her, because she loves playing with Dutch. And we love watching that. So I hope more of that happens.
Anything else? Anything else of the show? Or anything you're wanting? Those are things that you think will happen, but is there anything in season 2 that you would love to see?
I hope that they don't abandon Old Town completely. And that we get to see what's going on with Porter in the underground
And Elvis, yeah.
and Elvis. I think that would be nice to at least check in at some point. I don't know if it'll be an ongoing thing. But, I want to hear what the episode that we're going to be covering next is called, Ryan. What's the title of Killjoys Season 2's premiere?
That is correct, everyone.
Is it?
So,
is it going to be returning to the punny titles? Because we had Enemy Klein
and
then Escape Velocity. Yeah, not.
Well, you'll be thrilled to know that
Yes.
we are in the swing of Killjoys embracing fun names. The Season 2 premiere, which came out July 1st of 2016, I just want to note that down, is Dutch and the Real Girl. Yeah. Yep. That is the name. And
Are sex dolls going to be involved?
oh boy. Let's find out together, shall we? So everyone, thank you so much for being here and for listening to us go over Season 1. We'd
and
love,
of course, an extra special thank you to the patrons.
Of course. We greatly appreciate having people who are willing and able to and want to support our podcast. And if you are someone who wants to do that, Yum Yum Podcast on Patreon, we release all of our content early as well as access to so much other things that don't make it to the main feed or elsewhere. We also upload our episodes onto multiple podcasting sites and YouTube as well, where you can find edited down versions of our reactions to these episodes of Killjoys. So if you want to see Rachel laugh and guffaw, you want to see me just roll my eyes at Johnny Quip, you can do so over there. But no, thank you all so much for tuning in and listening. If you have thoughts on what we've talked about here today, or things about this season of Killjoys, things that leapt out to you, things that worked or didn't, or your history with the show, were you there watching it when it initially aired 10 years ago? I would love to hear it. Rachel would love to hear it. Rachel, where can people contact us? Where can people follow us? Where can people find us?
Yumyumpod or Yum Podcast is what to search on your social media of choice. Links also provided below. If you want to email us, yumyumpod@gmail.com is the address to send it to. If you want to have more back and forth with us, sign up to that Patreon and you get access to our Discord.
Thank you, Rachel, for letting us all know. But until next time, Yumlings, remember that we are here looking at this show. We are here talking about this show, but we are here to ask this very important question, which is, do you think that the My Tits guy from the first episode, do you think he's doing okay? Rachel, do you think he's doing okay? Because he didn't get killed, right? He was the other guy? There was like two guys in that episode, and I think and I have my tits handed to me by my boss. Did he die?
I can't remember. I thought they... No, I don't think they did kill him.
They killed someone else. Klein did.
Yeah.
But here's the most important thing to know.
Maybe they did. Maybe Klein did. I don't know.
We have exited the age of every episode ending with that, with now Dulcea saying, bye!
Bye.